showcase. It's hard to believe we're at the end of the cycle already. Lots of good things to share. I did peek ahead and looks like great things have been going on. Here's our gift team across the top, Nicole Thompson, Tanya Pinkerton, Rachel O'Flaherty, and myself, Deb Heim Martinez. And then we do have two student workers, Ian Elder, and on the right here is Akshata Kandikar. Today's agenda is talking about each of the PEFLs, the play, the UDL, and EMI. Then we'll talk about bright spots from the gift team and what's next for PEFLs. So I will turn it over to our play PEFL. Chanda?
Hi, excuse me, I'm Chanda Crabtree, and we did the Play Puffle this last session, and we really enjoyed it and created some lasting partnerships, which we really value. But we researched and created a Padlet with resources to explain the connection between play and literacy development, as well as to support teachers in the classroom. So if you click, there's our QR code, we'll go right to it, or you can click, this is also a link if you're interested in checking it out, but it's pretty amazing. And we can you can look at it and add into it if you'd like anybody can. It's a great resource for people to add and take things. We also did two presentations at the ASU Early Childhood Conference, and one of them was one member's first conference presentation, and she was amazing. We prepared a resource document on play and technology, as well as 3 infographics or pamphlets for play and outdoors. One was for administrators, one for teachers, and one for families. And these were distributed at the Illinois Fall Conference, as well as the AZAEYC annual meeting. In addition, we're continuing some work, and so we're working on an article for NACCE that's due June 1st about play and literacy, as well as exploring temperature-informed play practices for the outdoors, like how to adapt for heat or cold. So that's a quick picture of what we did. I don't know if you, Deb, if you want to open the Padlet to peek at it, we can, or if people want to explore it on their own, it's all good.
Sure. So out of our PEFL, we ended up having 3 subgroups. So we have a welcome and our vision in this first column. And then we have a, each section is the 3 subgroups. So we had play and literacy, play in the outdoors, and play and technology. So we're just continuing to add resources. The pamphlets for the outdoors are in here that you could click and download if you'd like to share them with your groups. And then over here in the literacy, they linked their presentation they did at the conference. So this is a slideshow here. The play and technology piece, they also put their resource in as well. So there's a variety of interesting things to play around with, check out when you have time. Anything else, Chanda?
I think that covers it. Did you have anything to add?
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll pass it to the.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the work we've done with Universal Design for Learning. So over the past year, or specifically since January during this cycle, we've been working on 2 major projects connected to Universal Design for Learning, both really focused on collaboration and access, and global knowledge sharing. So the first project that we continued to work on was our appreciative inquiry study. We have continued conducting interviews with educators and educational leaders to better understand the different innovative applications of UDL that are being applied across different contexts. As we continue interviewing, we are building out our open access repository, which allows anyone to access and learn from these interviews and see these practices that are being shared. So you can see on this slide here, there is a QR code. There's a link to watch the interviews and then a QR code if you are interested or know someone you think might be interested in participating in one of those interviews with us. And then in addition to that, through our conversations in one of these interviews, we got connected with a few teachers in Malawi. Initially, we were going to interview those teachers for this repository, but due to technology constraints, we weren't able to. But we were engaged in conversation with them. And through that conversation, it became really clear that there was a strong desire from them for connection and collaboration and some ongoing professional learning around UDL. So Tanya and I should have said before, Tanya and I work on this together. We helped them create a community of practice that is centered around universal design for learning. We have done this through WhatsApp, and what started as a small project with just a few of those teachers now has more than 50 participants from both primary and secondary school. And each week we share resources and ideas around UDL, and then the participants in the community share how they're applying these practices within their own classroom and their educational settings. They share ideas and ask questions and collaborate with each other. So this really has become a reciprocal learning and problem-solving community. To better understand the impact of this community, we are also conducting a survey to assess the effectiveness of what we've done in Malawi, with the goal of looking at how this model supports educators and exploring how we could perhaps take this framework and expand it globally, connecting more communities in the future. In addition to these projects, we did submit a proposal to UDL-CON that was accepted. So this summer we'll be presenting at their international conference on our appreciative inquiry study and the broader work that has emerged from these collaborations. So overall, we're excited about what we've done. We're hoping to continue to grow it in the future. Being involved with UDL in this way has really reinforced that it's not just a framework to reference or use for classroom instruction, but it really has been serving as a catalyst for collaboration globally. And we're really excited to see how this continues and where this work takes us next.
Thanks, Rachel. We'll turn it over to Mohammed.
Yeah. You? I'm not seeing the slide. Can you, Rachel? Okay, thank you. I did it. Thanks everyone for this, let's say, showcase. It's really pleasure for me to be again here. So for the MI track within the PEFLs in the spring 2026, so it's a continuation to the previous cycle of the fall. So we are still with the making it the real publication of the book, Dislocated Policies, Politics, and Ideologies of MI in the Global South. So in collaboration with the ASU and by Matt to DBE. So the 8, meaning the American Teachers Association, have received the manuscript and it's under review now process. Hopefully, I'll hear from them very soon to get the book published. So this is, I feel, so when you publish something, it's a real concrete thing that is taking place. Then, can you just next slide? Yes, thank you. So another event was a conference in its collaboration. We used the logistics of the of the ASU, namely the Zoom. So, and we made the conference virtually international. It's the public speaking and EMI in Moroccan tertiary classrooms. It was in Kenitra, far away from Oujda. So it was a very good event. And I guess the EMI PEFL also helped in the logistics, namely the Zoom account. Okay. And forthcoming, there is a webinar. It's scheduled. So by the end of May or beginning June. So we'll host this webinar. It's about the linguistic sovereignty and the politics of education crisis in the MENA region. So we've agreed with the two speakers, and of course the discussion is going to be very fruitful. But that's all about the EMI in this cycle, and we hope it's going to be more innovative and more updated in the next cycle next year, inshallah. Thanks. Okay, I've put down some tips in the end. I guess, Tanya, when we are there, we can discuss the tips. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. It sounds like you guys had a very productive spring. So I'll share just a few bright spots from our GIFT team. That's the Global Innovations and Futures in Teaching that the PEFLs are housed under. So we're very happy to report that we've had engagement from across 10 countries. And of course, we hope to continue to grow that. We are participating in the Moonshot cohort. So that is a professional development here at ASU, hosted by the ASU Foundation, that's looking at how do we position GIFT and the PEFLs to receive philanthropic funding. So this was a year-long undertaking and kind of a lot of work. I think Deb and Rachel will agree with me. So we've been working very hard on what our pitch will be to seek that additional funding, which will help, I think, accelerate the work that we're doing in GIFT, since right now we're working with a very small budget amount, which kind of gets me to the next bullet. We did receive some seed grant money to help fund this year, which helped us have student workers like Ian, who's here with us today, to provide some support. So thank you, Ian, and also provided some support for professional development and other items, but we're hoping that will expand in the coming years. We're also doing some research with Dublin City University on initial teacher education pathways, and hopefully those will be published in the fall. We'll see. We hosted 4 research webinars. I hope you were able to attend. If you weren't, they are recorded and linked online. So those were very focused on qualitative research methods, highlighting some experts that we have here at ASU's Mary Lou Fulton College for Teaching and Learning Innovation. We'll make sure those are linked when we send out the slide deck. And as we heard today, we do have 3 active PEFL apps this spring, and we'll see what our next cycle holds for us. So we're going to go to the next slide. So what's next for us? We are hoping to discuss today what the lab topics will be upcoming, if we want to continue the current labs, if we feel like those are still an area of interest and need, if there are additional labs that we'd like to seek. I know some of you will be watching this recording later, so feel free to email us and reach out if you have additional topics of interest that you'd like to discuss. Like I stated before, we will seek additional grant funding. We'll be creating some new research webinars, and we'll be presenting our findings from the DCU study. So there'll be more information coming out on some of those other upcoming items. But I'd like to take a moment to just check in with our current PEFL facilitators and see if we're wanting to continue the current labs, and then maybe after that we'll open up discussion to additional ideas for labs. Mohammed, it sounds like you guys still have plans. Is the EI group wanting to continue with your lab?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Wonderful. And Deb and Chanda, what about the Play PEFL?
We would love to continue. I think we definitely have created the connections that we'd like to continue working with.
Yes, and Jenny and Dahlia are here as well, who participated in the Play Festival. So just thank you to them as well.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad that will continue. It feels like you guys are getting some new momentum now. And Rachel, what about the UDL PEFL?
Yes, we would like to continue working on continue this work. We have some good
I
momentum.
agree.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
I completely agree. So that does leave us open to, are there other areas that we would like to explore that maybe aren't currently represented from lab? And we can have a discussion about it now, but we can also follow up via email if people need more time to think.
I think
I think
uh,
I think trying to maybe get the AI PEFL off the ground again would be useful. If we can find someone to run it. I know like that's a lot of I feel like what new teachers are thinking about and current teachers are thinking about is like what is this and how do we integrate it? What restrictions do we need to set? So I think trying to get that back online could be good.
Yeah, I agree. Great idea, Ian. I wonder if it would be helpful for us if we do want an AI focused PEPL to maybe narrow that a bit
Yeah.
to differentiate like what particular aspect of AI are we thinking about how our teacher preparation students are using it, or are we thinking about how teachers and classrooms are using it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Good morning. My name's Diane.
Diane.
I'm new to all of this, and I was excited to at least view the moonshot that took place, I believe, on the 24th of April. And it sparked a lot of interest for me and wanted to come see what the showcase had to offer. And I have been with ASU for 10 years as an academic associate, and I've been also an adjunct working with Grand Canyon University, and I have been a classroom high school teacher for over 30 years. So I've got a lot of experience just being in the trenches and working directly with all different grade levels. Currently, I'm working with juniors and seniors and spend a lot of time with them in making transitions from the high school to either a community college or to a university through dual enrollment programs. And so I've been focusing on really the peer review process in their writing in regards to metacognition and how they are reflecting on their own process as a learner. And so I'm not really sure where I would fit in, but what I'm finding is that the dialogue and the conversation is something that I enjoy and that I'm seeking, and wanted to at least be here, participate, and share a couple of ideas. I mean, I've got one where it's very student center focused and how the students are, again, reflecting on their own process in learning. I do have a background in gifted education. So I hold a master's in gifted and I also hold a master's in English. And so between both of those, I find that my passion tends to be more toward composition, but also that reflective element, and also for students to really buy into being lifelong learners and making that transition from high school to the university in a successful way. So, what that all looks like and how I would specifically pinpoint that, narrow that down, I'm still in the process of that. But again, I'm here to at least just express and listen and keep that growth mindset and, figure out what I fit in.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Diane. And this is definitely an exploratory space, so we often come with multiple questions and not maybe sure how everything weaves together, but it seems like it eventually does. As we were talking and kind of thinking about the previous comments around AI being a focus, I'm wondering if it would make sense to do an AI group that's focused on AI as a thought partner or AI to support self-reflection, because I think that's how many of our faculty members, at least here at ASU in the conversations that we've had, are thinking about it. Um, and I wonder if that might be an area of interest. And feel free to tell me it's only interesting to me, but
It
it'd be
is.
nice to.
I'm nodding as I'm listening to everything that you're saying, because that is something that is very real. And I teach online, I teach face to face, and that's an element that, as an instructor, that I look at, because I had two ideas, one that was student center focused and one that was more instructor focused, is that how does an instructor like myself manage so many different platforms? And it is it takes an incredible amount of organization, for one, to be able to keep working with face to face and online, and also staying abreast of what is most current for how kids are learning. One of the elements that I've noticed is that I've seen a huge transition where students are actually now utilizing AI more as a model and a tool for how to write composition, where previously we used literature. We read the novels, we look at the sentence structure, and within that particular piece of writing, then we model. And now what I'm noticing is that kids are using AI as their model. So that's a big piece for AI that I have found incredibly interesting, that has tied into what I was previously mentioning in that peer review process. So, and still having students go through that reflective element where they are the ones ultimately evaluating whatever the content is that has been generated, to still determine the credibility of whatever it was that was generated, and then continue to analyze how that content fits in with whatever the criteria or the rubric is that they are expected to work with in order to meet those expectations of an instructor. If any of that makes sense.
It does. And the idea of AI as the model resonates with me, not as a student, but just as a person trying to get work done, where you put things in and then, I don't know, pick up on phrases or terms or other things. I hadn't thought about it the way we use literature to model things before. Well, it seems like we're all on board for an AI focused PEFL. So our team will work a little behind the scenes to sort of maybe flesh out at least an initial draft of what that looks like, and we'll send that out probably next week. That's here at ASU. This is finals week, so no promises before grades are posted. But it seems like this idea of AI as like a thought partner or a guide might be a nice focus to differentiate ourselves from. I know there are a lot of AI groups that are popping up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific. Well, thank you for the ideas, Diane. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Tanya.
And thanks for joining us. We always appreciate new collaborators.
And please feel free to keep me on your email list. I do have a class that will be starting shortly, so I'll stay as long as I can, but if you see me pop off or leave, then thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We understand. Yeah, it's the busy to the end time right now. So Mohammed suggested a few other ideas as we look forward next steps, setting up some MOUs. Maybe we want to talk about that a little bit more, what that you think the MOUs would be for.
Sure. Thank you, Tanya. So these are just tips that we can work all together about. Okay, so maybe we can concretize our collaboration and setting up some official partnerships or MOUs. So, for example, I guess we've been a new school, so we set up this lab, interdisciplinary lab for didactics, education, and languages at our school. Tanya know the ESAP is a new project in Morocco. So we set up this lab. So it's gonna be on next very soon. So if there is a real partnership between our lab and the PEFLs, so I guess the continuity of the event is going to be let's say continuous. Okay, so whatever we can host within our lab can be shared with the PEFLs and can be real partners. Okay, so this is only one way of how we can let's say go global and even let's say more solid. So we can innovate. I don't know how. So Tanya, you remember, so the project with Mohammed VI University, the master's project I suggested, it was very hard to convince here the University of Mohammed VI. So I think we can do it online. We can think, I don't know how we can run this administratively, but we can think about some trainings or programs that would, let's say, give the PEFL more doors, more gates, etc. And thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you for those suggestions, Mohammed. This will include our business office as more formal structure, so I think that we probably need to consider that a little bit deeper and maybe connect with some of the people from our business space as well. But I appreciate the ideas around formalization. And I think that's really all that we had for today, unless anybody has any final words that they wanted to share. Well, please.
You may allow me, Tanya. I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. It's really been a pleasure. I've learned a lot from working in the PEFLs, and I hope that we do a lot of work together in the future, inshallah. And I'm very open to any collaboration in any part.
Wonderful. Well, it's always good to see you, Dalia. We appreciate your contributions and collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be in touch with updates with the PEFLs. We'll share this recording and the slide deck with all the links so everybody has access to that. And I know the summer tends to be a bit of a slower time, but we're generally around in the summer. So if there are ideas that come to mind, questions you have, or things you want us to be talking about, always feel free to reach out. And we will definitely have more professional development next year, more opportunities to connect, and the labs will continue on with one new AI edition. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a good rest of the day. I know some of us have more of the day left than others, so whatever that looks like for you, I hope it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.